That should do it. Okay, wow. YouTube, here we are again. I hope that's okay. So I'm just gonna wait a minute here, just 1 minute. Gonna wait before I jump into it. I have 3 people. I have a like. Thank you so much. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start. You know, those of you that have been with me a while, you know how I typically do these videos. I'll just go live and then I will, you know, just kind of wing it, and then the video is just up forever. I typically don't record videos unless I am having somebody on as a guest to enter. I haven't been here off for a little bit weird. It's just because I haven't done this in ages and I feel a little bit rusty, a little bit out of my element. I've pretty much taken a break from YouTube's. To be completely honest with you, this platform gives me some anxiety sometimes, just because it's so big, and it's, you know, we know who runs it, we know who owns YouTube. Sorry, YouTube. So, you know, I've just struggled a little bit with that part, although I have been doing some work recently with the one and only Jeff Daugherty. So if you are interested in seeing any of my most recent content, you're going to want to pop on over there to the Christian Whistleblower, fantastic channel on YouTube. Subscribe to his channel. I have done a couple of videos with him on his channel in the past few months. But this is the first time that I have done anything on my channel. What is this angle looking like to you? I mean, not that it matters. I don't know. Yeah, like my back, everything, I'm just super winging it. I just decided that now is the time. I've been feeling like I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about some updates with the what we can call the Great Awakening and related topics and subject matter. And just here within the last 1 day, 2 days, I've really felt it all kind of come to a climax, and really felt the urge to just spill what's going on with me in you know, my experience, my interpretation of what's going on with the collective. So I did see somebody ask about readings. I am still doing private readings. I do aim, you know, just for, you know, QAnon, or what I'd like to do is keep tarot separate. I'd like to keep tarot its own thing, for the sake of keeping the conversation neutral. I'm not trying to impose my, you know, my tarot mind onto any of the other, you know, research and you know, anything else that I'm doing here. I just want you guys to know that I have mind enough to be able to do that. So without further ado, let's jump right on into it, guys. So first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the status of the Great Awakening. A lot of you that are sub to this channel have been following QAnon since 2016, late 2016. And some of you are still on the Q train, the Trump train, the MAGA train, and some of you have, you know, jumped off, and that's completely fine. It's completely understandable. I'm not going to take up your time and talk to you or try to convince you why you need to, you know, get back on the Q train or trust the plan or anything like that. That's not what I am aiming to do here at all. I always encourage, you know, skepticism, healthy skepticism, and you don't have to trust in any plan. I am an advocate of being vigilant, of being proactive when it comes to facilitating change on our planet, to sit back and to allow, you know, the Q movement to function as a kind of opiate for the masses in this sort of, don't worry, just sit back, trust the plan. It's all being taken care of. Well, I do tend to believe that that is true, that things are generally going to be okay because it was predicted that way, and that's just the nature of the game at this point. And I'll get into that later. That would be your Project Looking Glass, Yellow Cube, the 2012 timeline convergences. We'll get into all of that later, but it's we can't allow people. We can't allow this portion of the population to convince us that what QAnon is solely opiates for the masses, and that it's just a psychological operation geared towards pacifying an otherwise very active, very passionate group of people that very much want to see things turned onto the right path. So, and just so you guys know, I'm really, really bad at reading comments and speaking. So you'll see me stop and start scrolling. And then you'll see me stop again. All right, so everything looks good. I don't think I even have a moderator in here. I might. God, I don't even remember how this stuff works, to be honest with you. Hi, everybody. So a really good friend of mine told me not to take notes because notes are dumb, but I took some anyways, because if I don't, I will absolutely lose my train of thought, and that would just be a disaster. So, okay. What do I want to talk to you guys about? Hold on, let me find my place. I did take notes. So I have a whole bunch of scribbles here. I have 2020, 2020 vision, looking glass, 5D chess, the yellow cube, all of these, everything that we're witnessing right now has been talked about at great length years ago. Some of you may remember a little channel called Project Camelot, okay? Any of the guests that she has had on her show over the years, that channel really acted as a kind of catalyst for a lot of people. Okay, a lot of people got their first taste of the truth movement from Project Camelot. And some of you may remember years ago a man who came out of the woodwork as a whistleblower named Bill Wood, also known as Bill Brockbrader. Now, things get kind of sketchy with all of this because, there's the question of, can we trust this person? Can we not trust this person? The reason why I'm bringing this up is because years ago, this whistleblower who claimed to be a member of an elite military force that was incredibly adept at all manner of psychic warfare, remote viewing, and all manner of fun stuff. Okay, he came out and said that there were these amazing technologies in the hands of military officials. Okay, huge factions, and they were utilizing this technology to predict the future. Now, as the story goes, Project Looking Glass, as well as some of the correlating Stargate projects, they were all taken over, okay, by the elite, by the cabal, whatever you'd like to call them. And I've talked a little bit about this on my channel, how I believe that the Stargates in question are actual locations on the planet, and they're not even so much, people think about Stargates. You may think it possibly evokes a very mechanical, built by the hands of some, advanced beings or something like that. When certainly that's the case. Okay, it's a big universe. I'm sure it has happened. But But that being said, I think that some of the stargates that were utilized for these projects were not built at all. I do believe that these are locations on the planet, okay, on the surface of the planet, as well as, inside various mountains. Mountain ranges are very important. Certain bodies of water, mountain water is very important. Cave water, underwater, cave, yeah, the water inside the caves, it's all subterranean, as well as a second source country, and people just don't talk about it. Actually, that's a topic for another show. But these stargates, I believe to be locations on the planet. And the whole point of Project Looking Glass was for the elite to find out what was going to happen based on decisions that were made at the time. And so as the story goes, the predictions generated by this technology were incredibly unfavorable to the Cabal. And apparently the outcome was that of an apocalyptic nature for the elite, for the ruling class, no matter what. And that what was supposedly going to happen, not even supposedly, but what was inevitably going to happen was that all timelines were going to converge, and there was simply one way that this was going to go post 2012. And that basically their demise, them being the Cabal, this was something that was a matter of planetary evolution. And this no longer had to do with choice. This no longer had to do with, strategic decisions made in battle. This was a done deal. This was something that was already going to happen no matter what. So subsequently, when you don't like what a prediction is, sometimes you'll shut it down. And if you keep revisiting that technology, it's kind of like with tarot. I know I said I was going to keep it separate, but I am a tarot reader, so these are my analogies. It's like sometimes when you ask a similar question over and over and over to the tarot, it will continuously, just in so many different ways, different combinations, it's sort of like in so many words, you're still going to get the same answer. And so what happened was the Kabuchi Project Looking Glass, and they shut them down, and that these stargates were also subsequently shut down. But that is how the theory goes. I can't prove any of it. Some of it resonates, some of it doesn't. You always have to consider your sources. But that being said, I have always had a very deep affinity for Nikola Tesla. Even before I knew the ins and outs of his biography and of his backstory, I always felt very inclined towards his energy felt really, really good. If you guys were to go back to some of my earliest videos, I have outlined for you guys in great detail an experience that I had with Nikola Tesla immediately after the 2016 election. Now, some of you can call this a dream, some of you can call this an OBE, or I wouldn't call it an OBE, but an astral projection, or even something similar to a memory, okay, another place. And I will just never forget, right after the election, I was transported to his laboratory, his place of work. The place was a mess. He was disheveled, but he was rushing around and he was so excited. This guy was on fire. He was so psyched. And I'll never forget, and you guys can go back and watch this video again, but I'll never forget because I've always loved him. So in this vision, he goes to reach for a clock. There's a clock like immediately over my skull. He can't see me, but I could see him. And I remember I could reach out and touch him, touch his face. And I wanted to cry because I couldn't believe it. I was like, I love you, but he couldn't see me. I was just observing this entire situation. And I do recall that he changed the arms on the clock to some specific time. and at which point he exited through a circular portal and left. And at that point, I was sucked through the roof, probably back to my body. Now, why did I bring that up? Okay, so whitehouse.gov released these FBI vault files. Okay, anybody can go see them. They are, free for anybody to view on the official whitehouse.gov website. And it is my understanding that these papers on Nikola Tesla have been up and have been available for quite some time. If I did go and check to see when it was originally posted, and it looks as if it's been up since September of 2016, which is interesting when you consider the October surprise, the WikiLeaks data dump that essentially changed the complete game. As many of you know, the 2016 October surprise WikiLeaks data dump brought us the forever immortalized Podesta emails. Okay, now, yeah, I'm so bad at keeping myself on track, you guys. Like, somebody just, I need help. So, in Project Looking Glass, the global elite were always made aware. Each time they tried to look through, utilize this technology, they were always made aware that there was some kind of unavoidable event that was to take place post 2012. Okay, there was something that was unavoidable. Something was going to happen, and that there was absolutely nothing they could deviate. They could throw this, they could throw that. They were not going to be that. The event that was foreseen yet not specified at the time was the breaking of what we now know as Pedogate, originally called Pizzagate. And then it evolved on, the 2016 election was not hacked by Russians. The 2016 election was fairly won by President Donald Trump, MAGA. And what really happened was a DNC staffer by the name of Seth Rich, say his name, he went ahead and leaked what he knew was corruption within his own party. Now, that is the definition of a hero, of a patriot. The man went against his own party. Okay, so it's not party over duty, it's duty over party. Okay, but a lot of people on either side of the argument think it's party before duty. It's not. Seth Rich was killed as a result of his heroic actions and service to his country and to humanity as a whole. Now, I do believe that was the event. That was the big rift. Am I glitching? Sorry, guys. I'm seeing the camera kind of do this weird thing, like it's making me fuzzy, and then whatever. I'll just, hopefully it goes away. It's very likely that was the event that was predicted to happen, to cause this disturbance in the force, if you will. I've never seen Star Wars, so if that reference is completely off, please forgive me. It changed the game. It changed everything, because this was the day that regular people were made aware that the people, these elected officials that they trusted for whatever reasons, through brainwashing, mind control, these elected officials, as well as, what would later we'd come to realize, celebrities, politicians, celebrities, doctors, scientists, people that work with children. I mean, all across the board, all across the spectrum, people in all positions of power were engaging in some of the most vile kind of activity, crimes against children, crimes against humanity. And this was finally made clear. Okay, this was made known. And then QAnon was born. QAnon was originally began on 4chan. Okay, listen, I'm going to be straight with you guys. I am not the Q person that knows every drop. I don't know every detail. I don't have, the app on my phone. I'm not the person that you're going to want to come to. I'm not your girl for that. But what I will tell you is that, and it's the reason why I entitled this video, The 17 Collective, because what began as possibly a very small group of individuals, whether they're, Trump's media team, a combination of, public affairs specialists, as well as, members of the military, high government, top brass, doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter at this point how it started and who these people were, because what has developed as a result of that movement is now what I like to call the 17 Collective. Now, this is an energy. This is an ever-expanding, unbridled, collective force of electromagnetic energy. Okay, and this is where we're going. This is why I think Tesla happens to be, it's part of the reason why Tesla happens to be kind of at the heart of 2020 and beyond. Tesla's technology, the story, the circumstances surrounding Tesla's life, and how and why his technologies were suppressed, free energy, all of it. And then, he had theories and groundwork for technologies that he wasn't at the time able to make manifest. But since then, as a lot of us know now, his work was taken by a member of President Donald Trump's family. At least some of Tesla's technologies were utilized for good. Okay, I do believe that. Yeah, you guys spread that around, the 17 Collective, because you know what? A lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth about Q. I don't blame them, okay? I try to see from other people's perspective. It's too easy to see this as what's known as a psyop. And I've said to you guys before, a psyop is not necessarily a bad thing, okay? A psyop is a psychological operation. There are good psychological operations and there are bad ones, okay? And what I'd really like to do is emphasize and just overall start to emphasize that it's not the tool, okay? It's not about the tool. It's not about the technology. Not even 5G could actually be considered evil. 5G is just 5G. What matters is who is in the commander's seat. What matters is who is on the trigger, who has the controls, who is in charge of the technology. Okay, Looking Glass could have, and I'm certain has been, utilized by positive factions of the military, the white hat operatives, the good guys. I'm certain we have just as much, if not more, technology than the bad guys. Okay. So, and what I really love is that Q did make reference to Project Looking Glass. Okay, because it just all ties in so beautifully that this was all in preparation for an event where the collective was going to experience this quantum leap in understanding the Great Awakening, who we are, what our nature is, our electromagnetic nature, the fact that we are not separate from these universal forces that envelop the planet. They work through the planet. They work through us. And that's why I feel that we can all kind of take a deep breath, and instead of allowing ourselves to get so whipped into a frenzy, getting ourselves all worked up about the impeachment process and how horrible it is. It's all just a bunch of bullshit. At the very least, what I would suggest to do is laugh at it. It's a show. Okay, it's all just a show. It's entertaining. It's funny to see people get all worked up and cry over it and, threaten to go on a strike if he's not in pay. Like, it's funny. We have to just laugh at it. I really think if we were to laugh at it, we break up all of the nastiness surrounding it and we can just kind of disarm whatever it is their last ditch efforts are to try to throw people off. Okay, it's not about it doesn't have to be about the left versus the right. Okay, it really doesn't have to be about that anymore. The 17 Collective is Q, and it's not stopping. It's not stopping anytime soon. There was nothing that could have been done to stop it. Now, that being said, let's see what else I have here, because I know I have like just a ton of stuff. Okay, so a few keywords that I want to use in regards to 2020, what happens after 2020. We've all heard the term 5D chess, okay? We've all heard that term. It implies, obviously, that there's more going on behind the scenes that we cannot see here on the 3D realm, that there are hidden mechanics behind this entire process that the average person could certainly not grasp. We can't comprehend it. I love that there have been so many references to 5D chess, because the first thing that jumps out to me with that terminology is an actual chessboard. The actual chessboard, if we were to break it down, a lot of quite traditional Masonic symbology, including what they use in ritual, it utilizes the black and white checkerboard. Black and white having to do with duality, good, bad, light, dark, all of the opposites that we experience here in this construct. And it is interesting that we have so many references to 5D chess, because that's essentially what we are witnessing. We are witnessing a kind of trickle down mechanism where everything that is happening behind the scenes in the realms of spirit, it's simply playing out here kind of like a reality show. And so in that sense, we can kind of take a deep breath and relax and just understand that there isn't a whole lot that there isn't a whole lot that you could do or not do at this point that's going to really, really affect the outcome. Again, don't get complacent. Yes. How do you not like a president that is actually doing something with human trafficking? Blows my mind. I'm with you. I am with you. I really didn't want to turn this into a huge, we love Trump thing, because I'm really trying not to alienate anybody at all, if that's possible, because I know I'm friends with people that don't like Trump at all, and I don't want to make this all about Trump as a person, because I do feel that maybe essentially what he is a kind of avatar, embodiment, catalyst that was going to, help facilitate this whole process. And in that sense, he is a lot like the rest of us. We all have a role to play. We all have a part in this. And I think it's okay to allow ourselves to be excited about the process, certainly not fearful of the process. I think for the most part, we're kind of out of the woods. Is the cabal going to try to pull some crazy stunt? I think so. Because they're insane, because they refuse to accept that they have been defeated, that their projected timeline has completely failed and will never be successful. That's not registering with these people. So they are going to just push this and push it to the point where we are teetering on some kind of, national level, national scale civil war, civil unrest, Some of the scarier possibilities would be like biological warfare. We already know that they're not capable of any kind of nuclear warfare because it has been put on record by many a reputable officer in various branches that whenever testing is done on their nuclear weapons, strange lights appear in the sky, and next thing they know, all of their weapons are disarmed, they've been neutralized, they can't even practice. So, that's basically the higher ups, the higher energies, the advanced DTs, the assisters, if you will, letting those in positions of power know, letting them know that they're not going to be able to carry out a global level of extinction. Because what would happen in that instance is just too many rules would be broken. That kind of event would trickle over into there would be kind of dimensional bleed through, and that's just not going to be allowed to happen, especially not at this point. At this point, nothing like that is allowed to happen. Okay, so the Tesla papers. The Tesla papers, there's a lot in there. The FBI vault on whitehouse.gov, there's a lot in there. I highly recommend everybody shoot over there, take a look. It's been up for a while. I'm not exactly sure why I just came into it in the last 24 hours. Somebody please tell me why. Maybe Q said something. I can't exactly remember. What I do recall Q saying very recently, maybe just today or yesterday, was something about, we're not going to lose this time. We have won this time. Or no, it was, we're not going to lose again. We're going to win this one and it's finished. Something to that effect. I'm sorry, Q, if I got it wrong. I'm so sorry if I didn't get it verbatim. But that was the gist of it. And I chimed into a conversation because I believe what that means. This implies that quote, that drop I felt implied that we lost this battle before. And I believe that Tesla in his time was sent here to kind of set things on a positive trajectory for humankind. A few fatal errors were made, okay? He trusted the wrong people. Circumstances were not good, okay? He was betrayed. He was lied to. He was taken advantage of. And poor Nikola Tesla died alone and, destitute. And it's just a very, very sad story. It breaks my heart. But I do believe that, like he said, the future does belong to him, okay? Because he was defeated in his time, but this is all reemerging right now. And I do feel that this is the second go around. This is the second time that we are being given the opportunity to create a positive timeline. And so we were defeated. Tesla's technology was suppressed. We have all been reliant on fossil fuels and oil. And I do believe that 2020 and beyond, as well as the 17 collective, is just going to relentlessly push for the revealing, for the integration and the reemergence of these technologies. And it is going to change. Not only is it going to change the quality of human life on this planet, it is going to change our fundamental understanding of the human biosystem. It's going to change how we view ourselves in relation to the known universe and the unknown universe. And that is enough to really, really crumble the fabric of this matrix control construct, which is what the cabal has worked so diligently to remain intact. Okay, this is why the only thing that stands between the surface population, the human surface population, the only thing that stands between us and a new world is the narrative. That's it. That is it. 100% word to God, word to the gods, word to everybody. Tell your mama, tell your sister, tell everybody, tell your dog. The only thing that stands between us and a new world is the narrative, which is why the potency of the 17 Collective cannot be underestimated. It cannot be pushed aside or abandoned. This is something that has to be finished. We have to push this to the very end. I had a quote. That's right. I had a quote. So a couple of quotes from Tesla himself. He said, "The day that we know what electricity is will chronicle an event probably greater and more important than any other recorded in the history of the human race." Now, we do have an understanding of electricity somewhat, okay? It's certainly been monopolized. It's not utilized in a way that it could be or should be. It's certainly not free. We all have to pay for electricity. In this theory, electrical potential and future potential of the individual is the same within their own reference frame. Now, this is so key to me. This is so key to me. When we fully understand electrical potential, it is, and with the proper narrative, with the true narrative, if we break down the Matrix construct, kill Mockingbird Media, dead, 1 in the head, 2 in the chest, dead, 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 kill Mockingbird Media once and for all. When the narrative is ours and we have usurped it, when we've taken it back, rather, because it was usurped from us many years ago, the first time we lost this battle, but we're not going to lose again, word to the gods. When we truly understand electrical potential, we will then understand our individual potential as beings of electromagnetic energy. What that means for time travel, interplanetary travel, what that means about the nature of this planet and you know, the dimensional realities that exist all around us. All of this will come to the forefront of the global collective, and that in and of itself will change the fabric of the world that we live in. That in and of itself. The only thing that stands between us and a new world is the narrative. That's it. And that's why it really has been such a joy, such a pleasure. I feel for the first time in many years, I feel like a child, a playful, joyful child watching the derangement of, you know, folks in the media that are so desperate to change things. They're so desperate to grasp onto their horrible, untruthful version of the narrative. It's delightful. It does as well. So, you know, his tweets are going to go down in history as some of the best material ever to hit the internet, when the reality of what has actually transpired here, the past 20, 30 years, but really the past like 5 to 10, and then the future 5 to 10, when the reality of all of this really comes out, it is going to go down in history. This is so historical. This is just amazing. Yeah, quantum computing. I think that Q, as well as being people, it is also this new technology, this quantum computer that has entangled, in a good way, quantum entanglement in a very, very positive way. Remember, the technology is not evil, no matter what kind of technology it is. The technology is not evil. It is a tool. It is a vehicle. And what makes something good or evil, good or bad, has everything to do with how it's used, including reality. What makes things good or bad? Nothing at all. It's when you introduce the human element of thought we then assign meaning to it. We then assign, oh, that's bad. Oh, that's good. The tool is the tool is the tool. Okay. Quantum computing is not evil. Even the technologies they've come up with at CERN, not evil. The people behind it have really bad intentions. Ask how they're doing over at CERN. Go ahead. Ask them. I'll wait. They're not doing good, you guys. CERN is not doing well at all. They are simply having serious technical issues. They cannot get anything done over at CERN. And I do believe that is because the scales have just tipped in our favor, and certain negative timelines, these negative acts of war are being they're being thwarted, and it's just marvelous. It's very exciting. What else? All right, I have another quote here that I would like to recite by the one and only Nikola Tesla. If our eyes worked at a different wavelength, we would be able to see that everything is radiating light waves of electromagnetic radiation continuously. In this theory, it is the forward momentum of light that forms the arrow of time and the broken symmetry of space-time. So listen to that. It is the forward momentum of light that forms the arrow of time. So we've heard this so much, dark to light, dark to light. Project Looking Glass works because the idea of, chronological time and how chronological time works on Earth in 3D, we move forward, okay? But the nature of Looking Glass technology is interdimensional, it's interplanetary, it wasn't built by us, we don't, it probably shouldn't even be used by humans at our current level of understanding and maturity. So these tools are otherworldly, okay? They work in mysterious ways. But they work because time is forward. Light is forward. Light moves forward. And that is what creates that's what creates chronological time here. And that's how we experience it here. Okay, let's see. Okay, so here you guys are going to see me stop and look. Cool. CERN suffering from bad science and poor taste in dance rituals. Love it. Love it. Yes. Absolutely agree with you. Okay. All right. Hey, yeah, you guys. So remind me what else I was going to talk about, because there's so much, and I'll probably, now that I got over my fear of re-entering the YouTube world, I'll probably hopefully start doing more live videos, because there really is a lot. Now, as soon as I end the live stream, there's going to be all kinds of stuff that comes up for me. Well, maybe not. Well, maybe so. Okay, so one fun little tidbit is that within these Tesla papers released by White House Gov, keep in mind a lot of the material in there were, they were authored by regular people. So not all of it is totally verifiable, factual information. A lot of it is just content, like any content you would find on the internet. But that being said, it's being put out there right now in a very official way, in a very mainstream way, that Nikola Tesla himself was a Venusian. Yes. Venus, a member of the Venusian race, which, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I tend to believe that certain individuals, when they incarnate onto the planet during a very prime time, sort of like the time is right for big change, these beings will come from higher dimensions, and share with us what they know. And oftentimes, people like that are unfortunately subject to an otherwise, stagnant or immature collective at the time. He was surrounded by people that were, for the most part, greedy, money hungry. They were not on his level intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, none of those things. So he did experience a great deal of suffering. And part of why I do what I do at all, on social media, is to, and you can go back to my other videos and see, is to give credit to some of the men and women that have given so much to humanity. And because they may be the only reason why we're in this position, at all. They may be the only reason why we have the high ground right now. People like Nikola Tesla. Some of my other favorites would be General George Patton, as you guys know, and the great Czech occultist Franz Barton. So those are some of my favorite people. Those are some of my my guides, my friends in spirit. Okay, so wow, I have 153 people in here. That's really cool. Not bad for my first time back. I appreciate that. I really, really do. Okay, so assistance from higher levels at this time. Absolutely. So I just really want to stress to you guys that what's happening right now is generally a kind of preparatory process where the truth is going to come out. Okay, the nature of this planet, the nature of us, what our relationship is to the earth, to the universe, also the corruption, okay, the depth and depravity of the cabal and their intentions and their agenda and what they've done, all of that is going to come out. And so all of what you're seeing is preparatory on the part of either the positive factions or the negative factions. So if we look at the negative factions, they are doing everything in their power to prime and prep the conditions of the surface to then introduce their version of their timeline, okay? And then the positive factions, the 17 Collective, the Great Awakening, they are also working very, very hard to prep conditions for the timeline that is just going to happen, which is going to be the good one. That being said, I do feel that in 2020, it would just be common sense to expect the absolute worst from the negative factions. They're going to pull out all the stops, but it doesn't matter because they're not going to be successful. It's just simply not going to happen. So, what else was there? I'm really so happy to see so many people in here. I know I see a lot of familiar little chat heads here, a lot of familiar names, and I'm really liking it. So I think that's cool. I think I'm gonna leave it at that tonight. If I feel guided to do another video, I will do it shortly, not tonight, obviously, but at some point I will. I just wanted you guys to know that, I felt very strongly that things are going to be just fine. I want everybody to feel at peace. I want everybody to allow themselves to get excited, not just about what's happening on the planet, socially or politically. All of that is surfacey stuff anyways, but on a very deep level, the communications taking place between hearts, between groups of people and individuals, and personal development is going to be very much incongruent with what's taking place on a macro level. So the Great Awakening is not just about the exposure of high-level corruption and human trafficking and crimes against children. The Great Awakening is so personal and it is so spiritual in its essence because it is the truth about who we are, the depth of the lies that have been fed to us, and it is the inevitable, for lack of a better term, the inevitable ascension of human consciousness. And it is unavoidable, it is inevitable. It is a beautiful thing. It's okay to be excited. It's okay to be happy. Next time somebody suffering from Trump derangement syndrome tries to approach you and fight with you, I highly suggest to disengage. Don't even try to convince these people of anything anymore. Don't. You're actually feeding this dualistic strategy that they're pushing on us. They want you to pick a side. They want you to feel so strongly that you're right. They want you to defend it. Okay, that's not part of it. We got to sit back. We have to laugh and know that all is well. Do your part. Do your research. Drink your water. Do your intermittent fasting. I need to do some intermittent fasting. This particular set of holidays this year has been very interesting. The energy has been totally insane. It hasn't really felt much like Christmas for me personally. I know quite a few other people were just kind of waiting for the holidays to be over because we're just so excited about 2020 and kind of rolling up our sleeves and getting to work. So, yeah, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I feel way better about doing YouTubes again now. And yeah, thanks again. Let me see if I can remember how to stop a live video. Oh, there it is. Okay, I see. All right. So bye, everybody. I'll see you next time. I hope everybody has a nice night. Bye-bye.